journalist and writer on behalf of the Peace in Kurdistan campaign, David Morgan. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
let's start with the Freedom for Öcalan campaign. There is a new campaign has been released on the 10th of October. And so how do you think that this campaign is important as it has been started from 74 different points from the all over the world? And how important do you think is that campaign, first of all?
Campaign is important because Ocalan's is important and the unresolved Kurdish question is important. The conditions of the people in Kurdistan, in Turkey, is important. And the relationships between the European Union and the Western powers and Turkey are important. So this is why it's a vital and important issue. And the human rights that Öcalan is being denied, basic rights to see his family, lawyers, etc., are being infringed on a daily basis. So this is important to raise it as high and as widely as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, dear David. Also, let's talk about the double standards of the Europe. So it's a huge campaign. It has get started from uh, all over the world from 74 different points. And why do you think still the Europe is keeping silence against the isolation on Mr. Öcalan? So against all this action of the Kurds and Kurdish friends and their friends basically. So why do you think still Europe keeping silence? Very shortly, please.
I think the problem with the European Union is it's lost its way. I mean, it was seen as an alternative between the East and the United States. But now it seems to be a subaltern of the United States. And the United States doesn't really have any interest in upsetting Turkey. I mean, they're happy to play along with to keep Turkey on side in issues where they're involved, is like Ukraine and the Middle East, and so they don't want to play card, so to speak. It's very bad to put it on that level that almost human international law doesn't exist. I mean, it doesn't exist unless we raise our voices high and make them hold them to account and make them apply the law that they should be applying. All the institutions of which the EU is part of this panoply of international institutions.
The campaign has started. It started very strongly with the huge support from the Kurdish friends and democratic and socialist people who wants to free Öcalan, who sees the Öcalan as a new age of ideologic philosopher and a political thinker as well. So what else needs to be done as a next step of that campaign? What is your suggestion to grow the campaign very shortly?
Well, obviously, we need to raise the issue in amongst our political leaders. Kurdish people, where they're strong in numbers, they can address the question to their representatives in councils, in as members of parliament. They can speak to their members of parliament, no matter what party they're in.
How important is the freedom for Öcalan for the future of the Turkey as well as for the future of the Middle East?
Certainly, Öcalan within Turkey. Obviously, if he was not influential, then maybe Turkey would not have him in prison. If he had no, it's ironic because of his strength and importance. Turkey is afraid, so they have to keep him in prison. So there's an irony there. But Öcalan is important as a guarantee of peace because things could get out of control. Öcalan's not been seen. We don't know if he's still living. We might. Uh, if something, if the worst happens, what would the reaction of among the Kurdish people who express support for Öcalan and have been inspired by him over many generations now? they've become a political force in the country, and I don't think Turkey would be able to control it if something bad happens. So that the Erdogan and the party in charge are very narrow-minded and blinkered, and not seeing that they could change course and create a more equitable, democratic alternative by reaching out and making a concession to the Kurds. And that would be, first of all, to let Öcalan see relatives and lawyers, and then relax his conditions in prison, and then ultimately be released and become a part of a peace negotiation process.
Thank you. Thanks. What is your message of support to the campaign, Freedom for Öcalan campaign, and what will you do as a Peace in Kurdistan campaign to support that new era, the new campaign? Very shortly, please.
Peace in Kurdistan has been, as a supporter of the campaign, we've issued a statement. We've done a in Parliament. We've got an MP motion, and we wanted more members of Parliament to support it, to raise the issue, and we'll continue tax. We have resources to draw upon, and our prime focus is on Öcalan at the moment. So this fits in with our campaigning, because it's, we see it as very important to free Öcalan ultimately.
Thank you. Lastly, very shortly, very briefly, what is your Freedom for Öcalan message?
My message is that people should see in Öcalan an alternative future and hope. Öcalan represents hope. There's a misunderstanding about what Öcalan is. People are ignorant. We can break that ignorance by focusing on his ideas and on the human aspect of this man who's been in prison for so long and now deserves his freedom. So we could free Öcalan, and it would actually set a step towards creating a better world, because we need to be better. We need to treat each other better as human beings, and I think we've lost our way as a human race. The way we're treating each other, it's going backwards to as it was 100 years ago, with the rise of fascism and all these kind of hatred. And I think Öcalan represents a hope, an alternative future. So that's it would be a very good step to see him freed.
Journalist and writer on behalf of the Peace in Kurdistan campaign, David Morgan, thanks for joining us, and thank you for your valuable comments.
Thank you very much for having me.